Welcome back to the Go Deeper podcast. This episode, we're going to talk about being nice versus being good. And I think this was brought to the forefront of my mind maybe in the last 5 years. I remember, I think it was Ed Milet was speaking about Matthew McConaughey's book, I believe. I may have that totally wrong. But Ed Milet said, don't be the nice guy. Be the good guy.
Be the good man.
Be the good man. Do you remember that, Real?
Yeah.
Be the good man. And I want to go deep with this because I think we live in a world that longs for acceptance. We long to please people. And we so often avoid leading them with the truth. We avoid conflict that would set them, all of us, free because we're afraid. We want to be nice versus be good and lead with integrity and lead with value and face the hard things that need to be faced. You can only sweep it under the rug so long before you're tripping over it. And I think I sent it to you because I was like, you're the good man. I'm the nice girl. You're the good man. And you got to have a little bit of both. And there's an eloquence to it. But when you're a leader, when you're a parent, when you run a business, when you deal with the public, you have to be the good man.
You can't just be the nice person who's a we call yes
people.
Yes people. Yes to everything, because then you get yourself where you're in a mess. You can't do it. And you're scared to tell the people you can't do it. I've always just been one of them people. I can do it, handshake. I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't do it, handshake. And that's hard, especially when people just think you can do something. And the problem is, if you start saying yes to everybody, they will expect it forever. And
people will start to walk all over you because you haven't set clear boundaries. Right. You haven't set the right expectations.
Correct. And
saying yes and being nice can actually make you the bad person because you're committing to certain things in life that are not going to meet somebody's expectation.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you become the bad person because you were too afraid to be the good man from the get-go and say, no, we're not able to do this. And your expectations are outside of reality. Like that's, you can tell somebody in such a way things that are so hard, and you can face conflict in such a way where you speak the truth over people without caring what they think.
Honestly, I've been told before that's like a gift of mine.
It is a gift of yours. It's a natural gift you have.
And I think that's why so many people, I'm the guy that everybody calls for, I need this done, I need that done. It has nothing to do with gym equipment. Somebody calls me daily, you know that.
Yeah, but people call you in life's hardest moments.
Yeah, true.
Nothing to do with business, the personal stuff.
Right.
You're a person that people call because they know that you're going to lead them with truth. You're going to lead them with integrity. And you're not afraid to tell them what they need to hear when they need to hear it the most.
I've told friends one several months ago that who was complaining on his wife. I said, I think you sincerely need to look in the mirror at yourself, because she wasn't technically, they were such a communication divide, and he was not listening. And don't get me wrong, don't you think we all need to look in the mirror at times?
Yeah, we're all part of the problem.
Right.
I think if you lack humility and you don't believe you're part of the problem, you are the problem.
Right. And that was the biggest problem. And I think he kind of got a little mad, but then thankful I said that days later, because it is a hard conversation. And it is one of those things where I don't ever want to upset someone, but I also, the older I get, I hate lying. I don't like lying to our children about something simple.
I want to go back to something you just said.
Okay.
You said that day he didn't want to hear it.
Nope.
But he was thankful for it days later.
He never told me he was thankful for it, but I think
you felt it
in talking to him after. Men are very prideful people, and I don't
say that again.
Men are very prideful people, and we are hard of hearing. And you have told me things 100 times before that I just didn't see or hear until you finally see or hear it. And you're the same way. My wife could be a man, even though she's pretty, in the sense of some of the things that I know how you were brought up because I know your father.
Yeah.
And you was the first boy, even though you was a girl.
That's how he raised us.
Amber played the sports and she was on the farm and everything. And even though she's got long hair. Yeah.
Even though I look a certain way, like I can be rough, dirty, tough.
Right. And that's
probably stronger and more masculine than a lot of men.
And then if you met her mother.
Yeah.
Oh, we won't get started on you, Teresa, even though we love Teresa. But my point is.
She operates in her masculine energy too.
Yeah.
Like she can handle her own.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then me, like, I think I'm more patient with our children than you are.
Yeah, but you also don't have them as much as I do.
I get it. And I see both sides because when let me
go live your life for a week and see how patient you are with
after 3 weeks of basically out of school and my son with me almost all day long, every day, I totally understand because and as much as I love my son, you know that, like even last night, he's asking me, I got a text message last night, Dad, what's it say? And I'm like, I about went off the deep end of the dinner table because I am like, oh my God. And I had to have this hard conversation with him instead of just reading it what it is, telling him how nosy his little ass is. And it was nothing that is even importance to him. He don't even need to know. It was nothing important.
But he's observant and he is know everything that's going on and who it is and what they're going through. But he also, I think, will be a person that's able to have hard conversations with people.
I do too.
Sophia is me in the way she likes to communicate. Manny's more you. Manny's more like, let's talk about it. And Dad, you got to hear my side of the story.
Right.
Sissy runs away and writes you a letter.
Just like you.
And writes you a letter.
Just and like you.
She'll come back downstairs and she'll give me this letter. It's like, I am so mad at you with like a mean face on the note paper. And she'll come and bring it to me. Like, that's what I want to do. But we're avoiding conflict.
Right.
And that's the point. That's why I want to make it.
So my family.
Manny creates conflict, faces it head on.
My family yelled, screamed, I'm not saying this is right. And we were done 5-10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Your family didn't talk about it, swept things under the rug. When I first met Amber, that was the biggest problem with me and her. She didn't want to talk about it. I did want to talk about it. And it would be something small that then I blow up at her because I was much younger, hot-headed.
But then I learned that facing that conflict was good and was healthy.
But it wasn't even a big conflict.
No.
I think you turned it more in big conflict.
I think anytime you avoid conflict and you're trying to people please,
right,
the narrative of the story gets much larger. It's like that one saying, you can make somebody else the villain in your own story if you let that story get crazy enough. When in all reality, if you just went and communicated with that person and acted as a good person, and you talked about the hard, you would work through it and move past it. Where if you try to be nice versus facing the elephant in the room, the elephant in the room grows. And then there becomes a bridge, and then there becomes a gap, and then there becomes a relationship problem. And it happens with all of us.
Sure.
There's all something in our relationship right now where, not even just with your spouse, maybe with a coworker, maybe with your children, that if you just went and faced the hard and had those hard conversations and worked through them with a deeper sense of connection, a deeper level of communication, and a bonded by love, you would remove that obstacle and you would actually create more love between the two of you. And I've learned that even in my real estate team, where I knew I needed to have a conversation with this agent. I knew the things that were either going on in their personal life, it was showing up in their business, but I knew things were going on in their personal life. And I used to just coach them on where they were falling short in their business. And what I've learned to do over time, and I'm going to talk about this book here in a minute that I just read. What I've learned to do over time is learn to figure out what's going on in their personal life by asking the hard questions, by asking the questions of integrity with them being in a vulnerable state, so then I could lead them past themselves. And there was this book I just started reading when we were at the massage place this past weekend, The Way of the Good Shepherd. And it talks about a shepherd leading their flock. And if you're a shepherd and you're leading flock, if you go, and this resonates with me because I grew up on the farm with sheep, and sheep are like the dumbest animals in the world. but they're also animals you can learn because they're creatures of habit, just like we are. And if I knew what that animal was doing, because I was a good shepherd every single day, and if I knew that they got their back hind leg caught in the barbed wire yesterday, I know today that I'm probably going to have to treat it. I'm going to have to pay attention to it. I'm probably going to have to nurture it a little bit more. But if I'm a shepherd and I just show up and I'm not paying attention to or asking the right questions or looking at my sheep, each one of my individual sheep every single day to find out what are they struggling with, I'm just leading them by the masses at surface level. You can't lead people that way. And if you want to lead people with more integrity, you have to have hard conversations and you have to know what is going on in their world to help them move past it.
But don't you think, Amber, people get suppressed and then are scared to have any conversation? Let's just say the wife, the husband has been beating her down and she's scared to tell him anything.
Yeah.
Because he blows up at her or whatever, and he blows up at the kids or whatever. Don't you think that's going to lead problems into her job, her business?
I'm always a big believer in your business grows to the extent you do. Mm-hmm. And if there ever becomes an issue in the business, it's usually not an issue in the business. It's usually an issue in some aspect of your life. Either your health is struggling, your relationships are struggling, your personal finances are struggling, and your spiritual life is struggling, and it trickles into the business. So the way I lead my team is we talk about all those things in a very vulnerable, open format. What does your spiritual life look like? What do your finances look like? What do your key relationships look like? What's your health and fitness look like? Because I know all of those matter in the big circle of life and affect your business. Mm-hmm. You can have a killer business, but it's going to blow up like a bomb one day if these other aspects of your life are unhealthy.
I agree.
And that's why I have the hard conversations with my team. And I know if I'm talking as their sheep, I know as a shepherd what's going on in each one of their lives. At a deep level, I've created a space for that so I can have the hard conversations and ask the hard questions so I can help them move past what they're going through in life and not just coach them to be more successful. You will run somebody off in a New York minute if they have relationship issues at home. And then they come into the workplace and you're like, why are you not performing? Why are you not making your calls? Why have you not made any sales in the last 3 months? Mm-hmm. If you keep it surface level, because that's comfortable and easy for you as a leader, you're going to run people away. And I know because I have. And when I took the pivot and went deeper with those people and asked them, look, you haven't had any sales the past 2 months. Like, tell me what's going on in life. How's your relationships? What do your finances look like? You know, I'll sit in this office and I'll have people in a puddle of tears. But then I'm able to help them so much more. And I'm not leading them through the results. Mm-hmm. I'm leading them who they are right here. And that's where I can help them move mountains and help them heal and pray with them and work past themselves. And then all of a sudden, I help their overall aspect of life. I've only learned to lead like this by leading myself like this, by leading you like this. But it's reality. I think for so long, leaders told employees, like, leave your home life at the door.
Sure.
That's a very cold way to lead. Because a lot of times, the only time people receive love, empowerment, and encouragement is at work.
Yeah, I agree.
And as a leader, your job should be to lead them higher and not suppress them.
People get stuck in the rat race of life and they're content, whether it be with their spouse or with whatever. And I do think, me and you do a good job of not just being content, always pushing one another, because it does start at home and then it trickles into the workplace or whatever. And I hate to say this, sometimes it could start at work.
Yeah.
Because some people are working more than they're at home. But I definitely think there has to be a balance. And it's hard to have conversations. I've always been very good at that, but like that was not your specialty.
No, not my specialty. I avoided it and I'd pray through it and I would just be like, Lord, fix it. And he would, but in his time, and it would get ugly in between.
Amber would almost like ball up in a little ball and not want to even speak to me, or even in your business world. I was always the one that, like, if there's a problem with the piece of equipment, I want to fix it immediately.
Yeah.
It can be toxic.
You don't like to carry stuff.
Right. It can be toxic to carry it.
I can carry things well externally, but internally it starts to wear on me. And one thing I said when we moved into this new building is I never want any relationship that I have with anybody inside this new building to ever get to a point where I never want to walk into this building. Mm-hmm. And I think as a leader, you've all had points in time in your career at some point where you're walking into your own business, the building that you pay for, that you've sacrificed so much to have.
You don't want to go.
And you don't want to go because of some person. So I've learned to say to myself, anytime I start to feel a little bit that way, there's a conversation I need to lean into.
And do you remember, it just makes me think about this, our pastor talking about that he didn't want to show up at his own church because of one member.
Yeah.
And then he finally had a conversation. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, that conversation was good and changed everything.
Yeah.
And
I think 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. Mm-hmm. But we create this scary narrative that it's going to blow up, yada, yada, yada. But the more I've had the hard conversations, the more I realize, like, that's where the healing begins, is in those hard conversations.
And I hate to say this, it can stir a can of worms.
Yeah, for a minute.
Because I've been there too, and it can be a problem. So you definitely need to sometimes address situations, maybe with someone else as a bystander to look. It just kind of depends, but I definitely think. Go ahead.
I think this is where you and I differ. You have to emotionally get yourself to a place of grace, mercy, forgiveness, and love before you ever approach those hard conversations. Because otherwise, it's a ball and fire of emotion versus tactical, good conversation.
Sure. I agree.
And I am not as emotional as you are in certain aspects.
I think people misinterpret me sometimes because I can be so aggressive, so passionate,
just
so
your tonality,
loud that I'm not yelling. You used to think I was.
Yeah.
And therefore people think, oh, why is he doing this towards me? And it's just my normal everyday if they didn't know me like that.
Yeah.
And especially if somebody questions my integrity, you'll really see it come after me, because I'm always at that place that, like, I won't lie to you. I won't screw you. I won't ever steal from you. Like, there's certain things that I don't do that I just live. So if that gets thrown at me, it's a trigger for me.
Yeah. And I think that's something you need to grow in. I think it's something I handle better. Before I go into those hard conversations, I've usually taken a day or two. I've prayed. I've prepared myself. I have a list of questions, because so often we're trying to carry emotions and heaviness and burdens that are not meant for us to carry in the first place. And when you carry all these emotions into a room where there's even more emotion, you are fighting emotions with emotions, which never turns out well. So when I enter into those hard conversations, I'm entering into them with love, grace, mercy. We're going to work through this, or we're not, and it's still okay, but I want to talk about it. I want to dive deep. I want to ask you, how have you gotten in the way? How have I gotten in the way? And how can we work through it? Versus just showing up like emotionally disheveled and just, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't get us anywhere. And it's how you have to move differently, especially as you grow, because walking into a situation where you feel like you're going to deliver the truth to someone, and if you haven't prepared for them to react in a negative way, you're going to react with emotion.
Sure.
Where if you've put yourself through every scenario of them reacting good, them reacting them reacting bad, and playing out and scripting out and going through it of, how am I going to react if they act like this? How am I going to react if they act like this? Because you're going to be poised and you're going to act differently if you do that, versus just being in your fire emotions and approaching it and then being in fire emotions again. You have to move a little differently. You have to pause sometimes. You have to take a deep breath. You have to recollect yourself. You have to say, I know this may not make sense in this moment, but God is going to use it for my good. And you have to keep moving forward. But sometimes our flesh takes over and our emotions trigger, and all of a sudden what could have been a great facing the confrontation moment can turn into something not healthy. And it can be even a bigger problem. So I would say anytime you're going into a hard conversation, prepare yourself, pray, and then approach it. Don't just walk into it blazing.
What do you think somebody needs to do, Amber, if they're the yes man or woman in their marriage, in their relationship? Because that can be a very hard to get out of.
I think being a yes person actually makes you die to a version of yourself, and you're never ever going to be happy in that relationship. You have to learn how, and this is going to be some future episodes we talk about, you have got to learn how to communicate to that other person with clear expectations of what it is you're looking for and or not getting in that relationship. And sometimes you just have to pray for your spouse's heart to be softened, because I think men can get in a egotistical demeanor of, if she doesn't love me and like me and do this, this, and this, there will be another woman who can. You know, I think that's a man's way of reacting to a woman who is a yes person and is saying yes, but should be saying no, and is now operating from a place of bitterness. Me being bitter is going to shut you down, correct?
Yeah.
So I think a woman has to, and I've had to do this lately, especially in my fasting this past week. I've had to slow down and say, like, Lord, lead me out of my flesh into my spirit animal inside of me and allow me to be the person I need to be to lead my husband higher. Because if you're reacting and saying yes when you should be saying no, you're going to get very bitter. But you also have to sometimes ask God to remove your bitterness and just move how you need to move to lead your husband to a higher level.
I also think that comes with maturity.
It comes with maturity, but it also becomes with facing it head on and realizing you don't have to live bitter. Do you know how many women live bitter forever?
100%. But I'm saying
a lot.
I think I used to do some, like, let's say 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Some immature things.
But I'm saying when you're in your 30s and 40s and you're married and you're
not good.
Facing your bitterness, and you're not slowing down as a woman and asking yourself, why am I bitter right now? You're bitter because you're afraid to tell your husband hard things.
Sure.
You know, you're afraid to tell your husband, no, I don't want to do that. And you've been making me do it. And honestly, with love and grace, they may not even realize that you don't want to do it.
Correct.
Because you're assuming, which is the worst thing you can ever do with a man, especially your husband, you're assuming that they're reading every cell in your brain at all times, and they're not. Even when I look at my husband and like hold his face, like, do you hear what I'm saying? Sometimes he still doesn't hear it. But you're getting bitter thinking he should read your mind, and he's not going to. We are Venus and Mars. He's not going to understand how you want him to move. But you saying yes is enabling him. You have to say no. And you have to say, like, I don't want that. And I'm getting bitter over here inside, and I'm treating you in a way I don't want to treat you because I'm avoiding having these hard conversations with you.
I've never liked any woman who is like, hey, babe, you want steak? And you say, yes, honey, that's great. And you don't want steak. It's something as simple as that. I want you to always tell me what you want. And then hear me out. If I want this and you want that and we are polar opposite, that's when it becomes, I think, give, take, and communication of like, okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to eat this tonight and we'll eat this tomorrow. And neither one of us, but it's what is that called? Compromise.
Yeah, compromise. You give and take.
I think that there is definitely, you have to compromise in life, in work, in business. There's a lot of things within business that I compromise on that I'm sure you do too, Amber, or maybe when you're negotiating a deal that seller and buyers have to compromise.
Yeah, we have to create a win-win. Is what we always say. We got to get to a point where it's a win-win. But I think so often in life, especially in marriages, the man may be winning, but the woman is losing. And that's never going to last long-term. And it's never going to fully be.
I think we've seen that a lot lately.
Oh, a lot.
And that's very sad to me because I always tell people, regardless of anything, people need purpose. And if any man or woman just enables the significant other, but they don't have, and they got all the financials they want, but then they don't have purpose. I need purpose every day. I need to go. Obviously, you with my son, Does that kid need purpose?
He needs purpose. He needs to get up and do something.
He needs to get up,
see people, and he's not good at home.
He's gonna be a late night, want to go out. He's good, and it's not that he just wants to be in the action of whatever he's doing.
Likes to have fun.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about where are you good at setting boundaries and where are you not good at setting boundaries.
Okay.
Where do you like people please sometimes? I'm gonna go heavy on you if you can't come up with something because I have one.
Okay, tell me.
Where I want you to do some internal.
Okay, so ask me again.
Where do you people please where you should set boundaries?
I think within business, I people please too much because I'm Johnny on the spot with text calls normally, and I don't know how to set those boundaries. And I'm now
out of you.
And I'm now at a place where it's become overwhelming. And I'm on the phone, you've witnessed it. And I get 5 calls while I'm on the phone. And then I get off the phone and now have to make 5 calls back. And I feel like in my brain, I have to instantly do it because if I don't, one might get missed. And then I feel bad. And then I get a text 2 days later saying, Steven, you never responded. And that happens more often than not. And for anybody watching, I truly don't mean anything by it. And I need to make better. I'm trying to figure that out.
You need to make notes and write things down and say, I'll call you tomorrow.
Babe, I do. And it's still when there's 200-300 calls. I don't think people realize how busy I am.
You also pick up the phone and call where sometimes you need to just text and move on. Because texting would take a lot less time. And you're a talker and you get on the phone and you don't have 5-minute conversations. You have 30-minute conversations.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
And you go on and on and on and you're not as efficient as you could be.
And I think, though, that's what makes me.
Because I know, but you got to set some boundaries because you get burnout.
You're right.
And you also have kids in front of you that are looking at you like that. Are you going to get off the phone?
I completely
agree.
Every
night of the week and every week.
Because I care too much because super fitness was the baby before children.
Yeah.
And then in no different than the 18 for you. And you know where I've seen you on the phone with one of your girls where I'm like, babe, you're not even talking about anything important, but you can't really get off because you're consoling her or whoever. And that's another whole issue. We all battle that same thing in a sense. What was you going to say though?
What makes you, how do you get past that though? Like what action are you taking?
Well, I'll say it on the podcast. I just created StevenHarveus.com. And so I'm going to start obviously always taking care of my customers, but I'm moving into more where they can book a time slot. And depending upon their needs, I'm going to have to start charging for my time for people who maybe want the blueprint of how to build a gym, how to do this, how to do that, in order to save myself some almost like a block from just being on the phone all day long.
Yeah.
Because I have to do this because now my time, I have so much demand that I can't just be on the phone with everybody for 30 minutes. There's not enough time in the day.
No, because your family suffers.
Right.
But also you have to look at what's your dollar per hour.
Sure.
And if you're on the phone, I don't know how many hours a week, we really should look at it sometime. But how many of those are dollar producing hours where you're actually making sales? And how often is it you're consoling somebody or somebody's just picking your brain?
Yeah, I know.
And somebody's going down the deep end and you like to talk and you just keep going where you got to nip it, because 1 hour turns into 5 hours turns into a whole, and it's like a whole 2 days
completely
of your life gone from talking on the phone and you haven't moved your business forward or shown the people you love affection in some aspect.
Sure. No.
So it's a boundary you have to set. You have to love yourself more than the need to please others.
Well, I'm trying to finagle that as we speak because what did we say years ago? We're going to grind till our kids are older. And I think
and then we're going to be sad we missed their childhood because we were grinding.
Well, what I'm saying is though, like grind to a fault, but like when the kids do get a little older than they are now, I want to make sure that like we're at all the sports games, because I know we're actually probably going to be busier than we are now.
Yeah.
As far as that
goes.
Kids
will be busier soon.
Right. And so if we have baseball at 4:00 in the afternoon, right after high school, if Manny played baseball, I'm just saying, like, I'm going to have to go into work a little earlier and get those hours done in order for that sacrifice because I will be at that game. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure all this out now. And truly, I don't have the blueprint, and I don't think anybody does. Because at the end of the day, I need purpose for my business. It was nothing to do with money. Like you, I know for a fact, could not be the stay-at-home mom.
No.
And this is not at all from a financial standpoint.
I need purpose. Yeah. It's not healthy for me to stay at home mentally. I need to be pouring into others, empowering others, doing all the things. And I know that about myself. And I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife when I have purpose.
Sure.
So anything else? I feel like we've dove into being nice.
What do you need to work on versus being nice versus
hoping to avoid this because I don't like to I don't like to talk about conflict.
Give me 1 minute of your time.
I feel like I've been very intentional the past 6 months to a year of facing hard conversations head on with people. I feel like this has really been an area of growth for me. I've also gotten very, very good at having hard conversations, period, and setting boundaries and being more present as a mother. I need to set more boundaries with my kids. Like before school today, I was ready to kill Manny. And it's because Sophia's been so easy to lead. All I have to do is tell her, and she gets up on her own. She brushes her teeth. She gets dressed. She comes downstairs. She packs her lunch. She does everything. Where Manny is you.
I love how she says that.
And I still pack Steven's lunch. I pack Manny's lunch. I don't lay your clothes out.
No.
But I do your laundry.
I think with Manny, he's so...
Let me give people a rundown of what Manny looks like.
All right.
So Manny wants to stay up late because he don't want to miss anything. Yet he's setting his alarm and he gets up in the middle of my peaceful time, which drives me crazy right now. At 6 o'clock, 5:30, he does it on his own. But then he gets up, he showers, but then he goes into his same routine as if he would have just got up at 6:45. And he waits till the nth hour to eat his breakfast and the nth minute to get dressed and the nth minute to change what he wants to wear. And this morning I had enough of it. And I said, Manny, you're going to be 8 years old soon. You're still asking me to help you get dressed. You're still wanting to change your clothes to something different. I'm still having to tell you to brush your teeth. You won't have enough patience to learn how to tie your own shoes. So I'm still tying your shoes. And it's like every day he makes us late. Me and Sophia are in the car on Sundays going to church, every day going to school. Me and Sophia are always the first ones in the car. Stephen and Manny are always the last ones in the car. They're all disshuffled usually. And I'm ready to kill them both. And I said, I have created this problem because I've been too nice and I've enabled them. And it's my own fault.
I love how it's them.
You and him.
Them.
You and him.
Okay.
And I carry the burden. Like I start every day ready, just like I get up at 4:30 so I can get my mind right. And then before I go to school drop off, I need Jesus again. Like I shouldn't have to go through that every day in my life.
I think that.
Because I've done it to myself.
Yeah, you have. But I think with Manny, he's so like good in certain areas and he's so attached to you in others and he just wants that love and affection. He wants you to do it for him.
But he's not this way with my mom and your mom.
I know.
I know it's my problem.
It's you.
I know.
And now you just have to start slowly eliminating you from doing one task and then the next task and then the next task. And maybe you almost got to use reverse psychology on him of like, Manny, you're going to do this from now on, but then I will do this in a different area that don't bother you to do because you've got to figure, it's almost like make it like taking something away from a child. Like, okay, I'm going to take your iPad or something like that. That works for some. It won't work for others.
Right.
We've got to figure out what works for Manny.
He's more like if I said, I'll pay you $10 to get dressed every day, he would do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like that motivates him. Or I'll reward you by, like if I told him right now, if he got himself dressed, brushed his teeth, made his bed, did his own laundry, to get the dog that he wants, I promise you he would do it every day, like military.
We're not getting a dog.
But I mean, that's what motivates him.
I get it.
I know that's what motivates him.
I get it.
So I do need to parent him differently. And that's me. I'm avoiding the hard with him right now because it sucks and I'd rather just do it and be on time somewhere. But I've said to myself, I've really got to lean into him and have these hard conversations and hold him more accountable. And this is how I used to lead my team. I used to be a little more enabling and no, I'm that way no longer. And I have to change the way I parent too because it's making my mornings miserable with Manny right now.
Well, hear me out. No one's perfect.
I know.
And we're all works in progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.